to live a happy life in an unhappy situation? Yes. I understand that very much. Becoming a yogi is no guarantee that everything goes well, and no guarantee that everything is going to be ideal. It may be the opposite, because in our karmas, it may be safe for some of our karmas to manifest that before we wouldn't have been strong enough to cope with. And so it happens. You have to understand the true you is not this thing, this thing. If you argue like me, you're glad that it's not this thing. It's who sits inside and looks out through your eyes, hears through your ears. That's the real you. And that real you is inside. And it is the innermost part of you. That's why in Tibet, they used to call the real head of their religion the Panchen Lama. And his title was the inmost one. Externalized people thought it means, well, he's way back somewhere in the Potala, and we're not worthy to see him or communicate with him, so he's way in. But what it really meant was he was ultimately at the ultimate center of his own true being. And that's how we have to live it, and we have to cope with it. Now, I'm not telling you just pretty philosophy. My karma was such that I lived through hell in much of my life. And I know what it's like to go through incredible suffering and to have absolutely no one whatsoever to give me any kind of encouragement, any consolation. And it was my own karma. It was evil karma. Having been an evil person, I reaped the evil karma. It was my own doing. And I had to understand that. And of course, it was hard to understand when you're absolutely thoroughly ignorant. And all you have is a hymn book, a Bible, and a string of equally ignorant people who get up in a pulpit and tell you the way things work spiritually. When I became a yogi, I remember very well the day that I looked at certain people and I looked at situations and I thought, that song that says, Jesus, keep me near the cross, and says, even though it be a cross that raises me. And I looked at those people and I looked at the situations and I thought, those were crosses that raised me. And I came out stronger. And I came out, in a sense, better because I learned that God alone was my refuge. And therefore, I owe them more of a debt in my spiritual life than anybody else. And then everything changed. And then everything was at peace. And the people who had been my torment became closest to me. And one person used to say they wanted to kill me, but they couldn't figure the way how to do it and get away with it. Came to love me as much as my own mother loved me. That's interesting too. This, I tell you, your life can transform, but you have to transform first. When you change, it changes. Our life can become all new, even though it's a continuation of what's in the past. Alone with God, you're always alone with God. Alone with God and in him hidden. To find in him a sure retreat. That was actually a phrase from one of the songs we used to sing at church. You have to learn to be completely self-sufficient. because the true self is self-sufficient. Therefore, be anchored deep inside, and whatever comes or goes, well, you don't have a choice anyway, do you? So you might just as well accept it. And that may seem very fatalistic. Everybody says, Hindu religion's fatalistic. Well, yes, karma, reincarnation is samskara. What else is it going to be? But it can be done. But without japa, without meditation, no, it's never going to get anywhere. And you can positive think yourself into a hypnosis that everything is great. And that's, you may have noticed about positive thinking people, they're terrified of somebody saying anything negative. And they say, oh, no, don't say that. Don't put that negative thought in the air. Why? Because they know it's all bunkum. They know they're not positive. They know their life isn't positive. And they're scared to death that they might have to face the reality of it. So you be positive, and you know what? The negative will be seen as positive. You'll understand it.